Hi everyone and welcome to Save the Crafty YouTuber Video Hop. Marika here with a tutorial. For my tutorial I'm doing a Peekaboo pull tab interactive card, making those cute little elves Peekaboo. But first, for the Save the Crafty YouTuber Video Hop. This is a celebration of card making video tutorials. We are coming together over 5 days to give our viewers a chance to discover other amazing card makers. It started as a response to YouTube partnership program changes, but have grown into something much bigger. Don't forget to comment on all the videos for prizes and tell us if you're a USA or international. So for the card, I have stamped a whole bunch of images in some tuxedo black ink on some marker paper, and I'm coloring with Copics, and there will be a list in the description down below with all of those. I'm not going to show all the coloring of all the different stamps. However, if you want to know which stamps I've used, they are also in the description down below. I think those are called the Mama Elephant elf agendas. They're super cute and they're super small. Then took a rectangle of some BRISTOL cardstock. I'm chopping off a little half circle at the bottom because that is where my tab is going to be. The next step is going to be the background. I'm doing some ink blending with some distress inks. This is STORMY Sky and some shipped Sapphire for the kind of walls of the room, and for the floor of the room I'm using FRAYED BURLAP and walnut stain. So very simple, very easy, kind of a little bit of blending. And I finish it off by just spraying some water, putting away the water, and you get all of these little droplets on the background. Then I'm going to take this tree, which is, I already colored it up once, but this is only going to be kind of where I'm putting it. It's going to be much easier to do the construction because I have some kind of lines to follow, but you won't see it when you put the tree on top. Then take the little elves that I have chosen to use. I've chosen to use 5 elves because that was the most I could fit behind this tree. This is a lawn fawn tree, by the way. I chose it because it was the biggest tree I had. So for the construction, I'm lining those elves up with their little feet. So I'm going to put the construction on the feet, and I'm making sure that first where I want to have them when they're hiding, and then kind of where I need them to be when I push them out. So where the feet will be when they're kind of saying peekaboo. Then I'm putting those circles together into these kind of ovals, almost squares, and this is where the construction part really begins. Many of you have like slider dies, and if you find a slider die that is the same kind of length like this, you could use that. But this is just simple. I'm using a craft knife just to cut those lines. You could use a ruler to get the lines more straight. What you want to think about when you do them is that it's wide enough for your foam piece that you're going to put on the feet of the elves, and also that they are kind of even so that you can get it to move all the way from the bottom up to the top of the little slider. So kind of what you need to think about. So that is the slider construction. Then I'm going to go in with some foam tape, and I cut it down to teeny tiny pieces. This is the 3M Scotch foam tape. You find all the links in the description down below of everything I'm using, the scissors, the knives, everything. And I'm putting a small tiny pieces just on the feet. This is kind of the thing that is going to hold it to go in the slider. And then I'm cutting down some blue tape, and this is because I am going to tape these little elves down temporarily, because I'm gonna have to fold the card upside down to make the upside down, or fold it over, or place it on the table with the elves looking downwards, and I need them to sit. Sorry, sometimes words. So I need them to sit on as they would when they are peeking out, because that will help you to do the construction part. And there I realized I hadn't been making that hole even, so I just go in with the scissor to kind of even it out, and then I add back my little elf, and that's the first part of the construction. So for the second part of the construction, you need a couple of circles. If you have like a tag die, they usually have those round little fasteners kind of strengthening the tag. You can use those. I forgot that I had those. And then I'm going to do the construction kind of strips. They're going to go from the foam tape down into the middle in between the other one. So I'm lining it up to make it the right size, and then I'm just placing it next to it so that I know which it is. I have like this 5-inch strip because I realized it's much easier to hold in a longer strip and then cut it down than trying to make a hole after I cut it down. I'm going to use some brads for this construction. These are DOODLEBUG brads, but you can really use any. You just want them to be tiny. Go in from the back side through both of those little slippery tabs, put one of the circles on, and then I open up the brad so I get this little V shape, and then I do a second one of these again from the back side, put it on and open up the brad, and that is the construction part of it. Then I add them to the card, just removing the backing from the elf's feet and push down that little V shape. And I do that again. Then I put some foam tapes on the circles and a second layer on the top elf. So now we're at 2 layers of foam tape. Now for the slider mechanism. I'm making sure that the mechanism is wider in the middle than the construction parts on the back side of the card. And in my case, I had 2 inches there. So I'm making it 3 inches so I can have a 1/2 inch tab on both sides. And I make it a little bit smaller than the card base so that I can hide it behind. I make lines at 1/2 inch just to make the construction, and here I show you which part I'm going to cut away. So I'm carefully cutting in on all sides to remove that. You end up with an H shape, and then I use the same ruler but the metallic side and my knife to just cut out those pieces, and there is the H shape. Now I'm going to do the foam tape. So on one side of the H, I'm going to have 2 layers of foam tape, and on the other side I'm going to have 1 layer of foam tape. This will help make the construction a little bit easier to use. I cut this foam tape down in two pieces so that I can have 1 on one side. So I'm going to peel off 2 of them, peel off the paper, put down another one, and then just peel off 1. So I'm gonna have 2 layers on that side, and then I'm gonna add 2 layers again. I realized after doing this that this might look a little bit strange, but there's 2 layers on that side, and then I'm taking the last layer and putting it on the other side. For the plastic, I'm using a doggy poop bag because that is where we put our kitty litter in after the kitties have used it. But I'm doing a 2-inch strip. This is a very slippery, good plastic for doing these kind of cards. I'm cutting it apart, and then I'm going to make this even slipperier. I'm going to take a candle. This is an IKEA tea light, and I'm just going to rub it onto the cardstock, and this will make the surface even more slippery and will make the card kind of move a little bit easier. I made cards like this and then I had a hard time kind of moving it, and this really helped. I'm using some double-sided very strong adhesive to put it together, and this is a tip: if you have a hard time peeling that off, just push it down with a bone folder and it will be easier to peel off the top layer. Then I put it to the edge and just cut off the excess, and that is the kind of slider mechanism. However, to kind of tie all of these 3 pieces together, I've just cut a little strip of paper that is long enough to cover all 3 of them. Then I can start actually removing all of these little plastic. I recommend removing from the elves and not to the elves, because then they can kind of crack a little bit. And now I can actually move them down to kind of hide them. I had to move that a little bit. Then I add some more of that strong adhesive at the bottom of that background tab, going in with the bond folder again. And then I take this, the 2 layers of foam tape is going to go down, and the little tape piece is going to be at the bottom, because when you move it now, you're gonna pull down, so then you don't get that taped piece in the way. And then I'm gonna take a 2-inch strip for the pull. This is some soft navy cardstock by Simon Says Stamp. And then I'm cutting it down, and then I'm adding a little bit of some more of that strong adhesive at the top of this little one. And you can actually use a smaller tab like this onto a card like that. However, I am going in with some more of that strong adhesive because it started to move a little bit too much for my taste. So I pulled it out as much as I could, and then I'm putting the tape at the bottom there. So now it is much better fastened down. For the card base, I'm just using half a sheet of the same navy cardstock. I thought it worked good with this color scheme. I'm removing that double-sided tape, or the paper of the double-sided tape, and then I'm going to use to fasten it down. So I'm just using that tape as the adhesive to put it down, and that's all I need. Then we're going to start decorate and cover it. This tree, you can actually only put tape in that little middle and on the edges, so it's going to be a little bit floppy at the top, but that's okay. This is mostly because I really wanted to make this card, and I realized that, yeah, you can't really fit any more tape or it will get stuck in the elves. And the next and the last tip part of the tree is this little kind of bottom of it, and I'm using some glue on the top to put it on the tree, and then the foam tape underneath the tree. And then I'm just gonna add all these little details. So they are coming from the different stamp sets. The small parts down by the tree is from the Elf Agenda stamp set by Mama Elephant, and then all the other little stamps are from Lawn Fawn sets. And as I said, I will link all the stamp sets in the description down below, so you can go and check them out there if you want to. I had a lot of fun decorating this tree. It was super fun, and I'm gonna enjoy decorating a whole bunch more trees throughout this season on cards, because I'm not gonna have a Christmas tree because I'm gonna be away over Christmas. For the last thing, I'm going to do a little sentiment. I'm using this Happy Holiday stamp set, again a Lawn Fawn stamp set. I used a powder tool on some more of that navy cardstock using Versamark ink and some Hero Art white embossing powder on top of that. And then I'm just heating that up to get that kind of crispy, white, glossy finish, which I just love. Now there's not that much space to put a sentiment on, so I'm going to put it up in this corner, and by actually cutting it off I will have a little bit more room for my elves to peekaboo. I use another layer of foam tape on top of that, so I think it's total 4 layers of foam tape on this card, but yeah. I'm using a white Jelly Roll pen for that little kind of triangle to show that pull here, and then you pull there and all they jump out. Peekaboo! My little peekaboo elves. This was a really fun card to make. I hope you liked it. If you do, please thumbs it up. If you have any questions, comment down below. Comment down below telling me if you're US or international and there's a chance to win prizes. Now come on, jump with us into this Crafty blog hop. The first link in the description down below is the next video. Come join us and have a nice day. Bye!